Every one of the air terminals have explicit methodology, techniques and particularities that need to be painstakingly concentrated on by the pilots in any case. Some of them are arranged in such far-off areas in unfriendly conditions that flying there is consistently a question of life and demise. Today you will find 10 of the most perilous air terminals on the planet make a point to remain until the end, in light of the fact that number 1 is makes me convinced most certainly something you could never need to attempt. However, before we start, kindly this way video and buy into our feed to never miss any new transfers, everything that expressed and done. How about we make a plunge right in McMurdo Air Station, Antarctica. Number 10, McMurdo Air Station, Antarctica. Despite the fact that airgo is viewed as the most secure means to travel with regards to the main runway in Antarctica, the cold runway and outrageous conditions send chills down the spines of the individuals who have encountered it. Being the main runway for the U.S. Antarctic program, it very well may be utilized by medium to enormous measured airplane. Also, is comprised of compacted snow or white ice. All in all, there is smooth manicured ice well frozen all around the runway, which isn't altogether inviting to the planes coming for an arrival. Alongside the consistent danger of planes sliding around, there is likewise a risk of the ice breaking from the airplane's weight. AC-121 sneaked off the runway in 1970. Furthermore, is covered profound into the snow till presently. Number 9, Gibraltar Global Air Terminal. Gibraltar Global Air Terminal. Having planned the most strange air terminal, that Gibraltar Air Terminal organizers for sure had a tough time planning it. The runway converges with the, as a matter of fact, city's primary street, causing burden for both land and air traffic. Vehicles get impeded in the process, which is like clearing a path for ducklings to cross. Ducklings that are less charming and way really baffling. Near calamities are normal in the history of the air terminal, making it very perilous and unsafe. It isn't a lot to zoom around the air terminal, gutsy and agreeable for the pilots, attributable to the monster rock of Gibraltar and the Cove of El Jacares encompassing the air terminal, as though guaranteeing that the little vehicles do not get squashed while landing wasn't sufficiently distressing. Pilots need to manage the extra trouble of disturbance and outrageous wind shear. Arrivals are extremely difficult, with the added chance of the runway finishing unexpectedly adrift, compelling the pilots to oversee cautiously the energy of the airplane to guarantee it stops on the runway. Princess Juliana Air Terminal. Number 8, Princess Juliana Air Terminal. St. Martin at any point pondered being in peril while remaining on the ground and not even sitting inside a plane. This occurs at the Princess Juliana Air Terminal, which lies close to a swarmed ocean side, where the airplane drawing nearer for landing welcomed the guests by flying a couple of feet over their heads, wrecking them and immersing them in enormous whirlwinds and strong shock waves. Sadly, this even killed the lady back in 2017. It is such a warm greeting for the inquisitive tourists who risk so much to get the ideal Instagram shot. Flying that low for the pilots isn't a genuine issue, since the runway limit is 2 or 3 meters from the ocean side. What's more, as of now the airplane needs to be at around 50 feet over the ground. This is fundamentally finished to guarantee the airplane lands on the accessible runway, which is something like 7,000 feet, making it the excellent risk for colossal long-stretch airplane. For example, the Boeing 747 Madeira Worldwide Air Terminal. Number 7, Madeira Worldwide Air Terminal, Portugal. Regardless of being a well-known traveler objective, this air terminal is most certainly not for the timid ones to land. The component that makes this air terminal count among the perilous ones is its breathtaking and surprising development to extend the runway. The runway is upheld by 180 sections that are remaining in the Atlantic Sea. Pilots and travelers both unquestionable necessity, the guts to really involve such a stage for airplane activities. After a Boeing airplane crashed in 1977, it was chosen to expand the runway from 1,600 meters to 2,781 meters. What's significantly more unnerving are the rough bluff sides and the sea around the runway, bringing solid breezes typically joined by serious breeze shears. Furthermore, unforgiving weather patterns. Pilots need extraordinary test system preparing to be qualified to travel to this air terminal. The last piece of the methodology is a visual portion, meaning they are exploring by spotting milestones. To respect Cristiano Ronaldo, who was conceived on this island, the air terminal was named after him in 2017. Wancho Rabin Air Terminal. Number 6, Wancho Raskin Air Terminal, Sabah Island. With a length of just 400 meters and in a hazardous area right close to the ocean, this miserable runway raises the accompanying Question: for what reason does this air terminal even exist underlying the local island of our legend ruler Kong? This is the world's most brief runway with no space for a pilot to try and wheeze at some unacceptable time, as that would prompt the airplane tumbling off the bluff right into the ocean. Being generally the size of 4 football fields, this nerve-wracking air terminal is open for a wide range of debacles because of its area, making each arrival a nerve-wracking challenge. Netherlands Antilles Common Avionics Authority permits just provincial propeller airplane with exceptionally qualified pilots to work there. Maybe taking a ship would be a much more secure choice to visit this wonderful place. Number 5. Toncontín Air Terminal, Honduras, added to the set of experiences channel's rundown of most perilous air terminals. This air terminal in a real sense makes flying a daily existence and passing matter. What makes this air terminal so testing is that pilots are in a real sense compelled to roll out somewhat late improvements with fast plunge and sharp 45-degree goes to set down the plane without scratching the territory. The short runway and the outrageous breeze blasts add to making departures and arrivals extremely upsetting. Maybe the main component that makes this air terminal destructive and hazardous is its high elevation, which is about 300 feet above ocean level. Many accidents have happened at this air terminal, some being a calamity, killing all the inhabitants. Notwithstanding every one of the risks, nothing stops this air terminal from being the second most active in the country. Greenland Air Terminal. Number 4. Narsar Swak Air Terminal, Greenland. Solid breezes, low temperatures, low perceivability, extreme disturbance, and uneven scene with short iced runways in the midst of fjords are a portion of the frightening attributes of this air terminal that could terrify you enough to drop your next Aurora Borealis trip. Underlying a horrible area in 1941 by the U.S. Division of Guard to cook to bigger airplane needs. This air terminal was introduced as a dangerous gift to the country. The way that there lies a functioning fountain of liquid magma right close to the air terminal makes one can't help thinking about why anybody would pick such a spot, particularly for an air terminal no place else. A pilot needs to fight with a blend of factors that in a real sense make one's heart stop. Chamonix Air Terminal, France. Number 3. Courchevel Air Terminal, France. What makes this air terminal so testing is the way that it is a blend of dread as well as rush. The French Alps are a sight of beautiful view for the skiers who come to partake in their getaway in the lovely Alps. However, for the pilots traveling to this insane hazardous air terminal, the Alps are somewhat troublesome and tricky. The short 17-22-foot runway is in a real sense on a bluff toward one side with a descending incline of 18.5 degrees. There have been viral recordings on the web of planes landing and taking off in these outrageous circumstances that win over the air terminal, as flying at this air terminal isn't kids' play. The pack of rich skiers must keep away from this definitely. Who needs to reclaim unsavory recollections from their excursion gave one indeed. Even gets back safe. Paro Global Air Terminal, Bhutan. Number 2. Paro Global Air Terminal, Bhutan. Are you prepared to turn the smooth and charming experience of flying into a harsh bad dream? Then try to book your next flight to the Little Seoul Worldwide Air Terminal of Bhutan, which is concealed in the 18,000 feet high Himalayas, where as it were a small bunch of pilots are able to take you there. When the airplane lands securely, everybody on board is feeling significantly better, and the travelers encourage, commending the simple reality that they are alive while the involvement with this air terminal is an exceptionally nerve-wracking one. What makes it outrageous for arrivals and departures is that planes disdain mountains more than anything. These mountains encompass the country and disguise the runway until the last moment. During the entire methodology, the pilots in the middle of between the mountains, they can see the runway just when they are, as of now, exceptionally near it, so a sharp turn is expected to adjust the airplane with the runway. It is a perfect methodology on a decent summer day, yet it rapidly becomes alarming when weather patterns crumble. On the off chance that you believe you're prepared, book a flight to Bhutan and test your boldness. Tenzing Everest Air Terminal, Nepal. Number 1. Tenzing Hillary Air Terminal, Nepal. At number 1 we have the most startling little air terminal that was named after the initial 2 climbers who vanquished the Mount Everest with off-limits around method outrageous landscape in an extremely short runway. Realizing that this is to be expected, air terminal was positioned number 1 on History Channel's rundown of generally perilous air terminals. Because of its area close to the Mount Everest headquarters, it is viewed as the most noteworthy air terminal and is the prime and most active air terminal during the climbing time of Mount Everest. Numerous destructive mishaps have come about, as it were, in little propeller airplane getting to the air terminal, as this is important to Keep away from the 5-day journey following a 11-hour transport venture from Kathmandu, which is the main other choice accessible to arrive at Everest. However, it is an amazement-striking encounter for the individuals who face the challenge. Shouldn't something be said about you all? Which air terminal do you view as the most perilous from this main 10? Or on the other hand, perhaps you know another alarming air terminal that ought to have been incorporated here? Tell us in the remarks segment down underneath. Need to observe more Avi.